Welcome back to Crash Bandicoot. Let's go into Castle Machinery and forget that just happened.
You see nothing.
Okay, we're going to ignore that green gem for now. It's not crucial to beating the level. There's no boxes there, but it's actually just a fun little reward. We'll be seeing that later, though.
Okay.
Later on in this video. I wish I could remember the names of these enemies here. As I mentioned before, they don't appear again except for that one little guilty spark looking guy who shows up as an asset. Also, at the very least, this level trains you to watch out for the hot pipes before they actually try to kill you with them. That is one of the big gimmicks of this level, at least compared to the other machinery level. You gotta wonder, like, are those meant to be security cameras? What kind of feed is being put in there, considering how deep in the tower's infrastructure we are?
I would think the deeper you go into something like this, the more cameras you would want, but that's just me.
Cameras would be lower resolution. They wouldn't be able to send out to to the broadcast tower. I definitely like how these steam pipes are telegraphed more than they were in the originals. It was kind of hard to tell. They had a very different sound effect, and yeah, just not as the design wasn't as good, I think. So this is also a completely irrelevant detail, but if Crash or Coco fall down long enough, they'll sort of crumple and then hop back up. That is not something that is in any of the classic Crash games. It was in Crash Twinsanity, which was one of the post-Naughty Dog titles. Oh, sadistic trap there. But yeah, I can't think about why they added that animation to the Sane Trilogy other than as a reference to Crash Twinsanity, which it's a decent game. It's probably the best of the non-Naughty Dog Crash titles.
Sure.
There's a whole sort of development history with that game that probably deserves its own video at some point.
So Naughty Dog is no longer involved in this series, or?
They have not been involved in this series since the year 2000. It has continued through sheer inertia on and off since then. They were not even a first-party developer for Sony at that time. It wasn't until after they left Crash and then signed on with Sony as a first-party dev and started work on what would become Jak and Daxter. Their contract for Crash was through Universal Interactive, which was Universal Studios' video game division. You know, we've gotten to the interesting and sexy parts of this LP where we talk about intellectual property contracts. Yeah, Naughty Dog had signed a 3-game deal with Universal, which eventually became a 4th when they developed the Mario Kart spin-off, Crash Team Racing, and by the time 2000 rolled around, Naughty Dog were very sick of Crash and really wanted to work on anything else.
Sure.
So Sony just decided to pick them up. Also, we're not going to fight Embryo yet. We're going to go back to Castle Machinery because there was that extra path with the green gem. I wonder what's in that.
Whoa.
Well, I did lose a lot of lives in the last couple levels, so I better top up to 99 while I still can. That allows you to skip the entire level if you grab the green gem.
And you can do that from the get-go, or you have to.
No, you have to grab the green gem. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now it's time to fight Embryo. This is one of the more unusual fights in that it actually mixes things up a bit. I did not mean that for that to be a pun. I'm sorry. So you don't attack Embryo directly. Instead, you have to jump on the green slimes and avoid the purple ones because they'll damage you. In comparison to the original, I found that this is a bit more difficult to jump on the slimes than before. Maybe it's just because of general changes in the physics, but also their AI. It seems to be a bit weirder to predict where the slimes are actually going to land.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, we're not done with the boss fight yet. This never gets referenced again. It's just for this one-off sequence. You have to land on the slabs of concrete in order to gain enough height to jump onto Embryo's head. I kind of prefer the original version of this, if only because in this form, Embryo's getting hurt sounded like a thump sort of animation. That's very funny.
I don't know, I mean, that was pretty good.
Yeah. The bosses in Crash 2 are a little better. I mean, in terms of being more interesting to look at. They're still pretty simplistic in terms of gameplay, though. There's only like 1 or 2 boss fights I can think of off the top of my head that actually involve, paying attention and not just following patterns. Anyway, this is the lab. This is the last quote-unquote proper level in the game. And it is also infamous. I mean, the general design of it is pretty similar to the original, but there's some changes to the lighting that make it a bit darker and moodier, which has, again, split the fan base because, we've gotten to the point where there hasn't been a proper Crash game in about 10 years prior to Crash 4 coming out last year. And so a small but vocal part of the fan base has turned into pedantic sods because of that. The main gimmick here is the boxes, the exclamation mark boxes, which now serve as switches for the doors and for the retracting platforms. Also, one way that makes this level much harder is that this absolutely horrible gimmick, which was relegated to the bonus room in the original, that's now a requirement for getting the boxes. Actually having to aim your jump as you go up to the other bounce box without accidentally breaking it is pretty bad. And here we get another variant on the lab assistant. Basically you have to wait until his electric gloves are turned off and then push him back. I do kind of miss that the lab assistants, when they died, they made a particular stock sound effect, if you're familiar with the Howie Long scream.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, their death yell is basically that. I missed that from the originals. But like I said, the things that I miss from the original are very tiny details that are very specific, and overall, I think I prefer the NST.
It doesn't look like a bad experience. I mean, I don't know what fan bases will be getting their knickers in a twist over these, or at least this game.
You clearly have not spent that much time on the internet, then.
No, man, I'm just pushing 40, and I've learned to avoid that level of toxicity.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but certainly I have seen, particularly in comments for the soundtracks, you get a lot of people who are very annoyed that one note is off or that a different instrument was used.
Oh, come on.
Okay, I'm exaggerating, but that's the dynamic that those particular conversations give off. So yeah, that was the lab. That is the last proper level in the game before the final boss. And next video, we will go through and backtrack the rest of the levels in the to get all the clear gems that we missed before. Sorry, you were in the middle of saying something before that.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, don't complain too much when you're getting good remasters and good sequels to games, because there's franchises out there that aren't getting anything but are still the center of rumors. So, you know, be grateful for these.
I mean, there are genuine issues that I have with the Sane Trilogy, but they're more about how some elements of the game were adapted, and why I think they're inferior, and not just because they're different.
Absolutely. Like, that's perfectly reasonable. But, you know, at least you got a version of this that you can put in front of another generation. They won't look at you like you're crazy. So
yeah, and we also got Crash Bandicoot 4, which is not as good as the originals, but it's still very, very good.
I've heard good things.
That is not an advertisement for a future Let's Play. I have no idea if I'm going to touch that game yet, but I'm thinking about it, but maybe not. Certainly not right after the NST.